o'clock. Here is the midday news. First, the top stories. Ogun public school students may miss admission into tertiary institutions. Amusun says Ogun State 195-kilometer light rail will be ready early 2019. Buhari dismisses reports of disputes with Tinubu, warns those behind it to stop. MTN meets Security Exchange Commission on proposed sale of share. In foreign, South Korea president ready to resign amidst mass protests, and South Africa's cabinet ministers asked president to quit. Good afternoon, I am OLOLADE SANYAOLU, bringing you the news in detail shortly. And now the news in detail. Hope is dimming for thousands of Ogun State public secondary school students seeking admission into higher institution of learning for the 2016-2017 academic session following the refusal of the West African Examination Council (WAEC) to release their results. The examination body has been withholding the result for the candidate from the state public secondary schools who wrote its 2016 May-June West African Senior School Certificate examination following delay by the state government in paying their examination fees. The Amosun administration has been picking the WAEC fees bills of candidates from Ogun State public secondary schools. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board (JAMB) has announced that the deadline for the admission exercise by the tertiary educational institutions for the 2016-2017 academic session must end on Wednesday, November 30. Sheyi Ikbadiola, who have been following the development, filed in this report.
My findings revealed that some of the candidates took the advantage of the initial release of the results by the WAEC on its portal. Some of these candidates printed the result and used it to process their admission into some of the higher institutions, but they received the shock of their lives when the institution rejected the result after cross-checking with WAEC. Other candidates from the state public schools who later attempted to download their results from WAEC portal were disappointed as the examination body had removed the result of the candidate from Ogun State public school from its portal.
Findings by Rock City FM indicate that the affected candidates and their parents have been approaching secondary schools in the state in vain to demand for their results. Some of the teachers of the state public secondary schools who spoke with the Rock City FM said they have asked the affected students and their parents to inquire from the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology Ministry in Abeokuta. The State Education, Science and Technology, Mrs. Modupe Mujota, and other top officials of the ministry refused to speak on the issue. Meanwhile, the Joint Admission Matriculation Board (JAMB) has directed all the federal and state-owned universities to close the admission process for the 2016-2017 academic session on Wednesday. It, however, extends the deadline for the private universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education by 2 to 3 weeks. JAMB spokesman Dr. Fabian Benjamin, in a statement, says the decision, which was taken at a stakeholders meeting recently in Owerri, still stands. All federal and state universities, he explains, are expected to submit their admission on or before Wednesday. Under the arrangement, Benjamin says successful candidates not admitted by federal and state universities could be considered by polytechnics, colleges of education, and private universities. Governor Ibikule Amosun says the proposed Ogun State Light Rail project will be operational before April of 2019. Amosun stated this while unveiling the project at the first international conference in Lagos, assured that it will be flagged off next year. The first phase of the project, according to the governor, is a 57-kilometer rail track from Agbara to Berger and another 54-kilometer track from Ofada to Shagamu. Another 84-kilometer track will connect Abeokuta-Shagamu with Ijebu-Ode in the first phase of the rail project. The governor says the project, when completed, will reduce pressure on roads in the state and facilitate agricultural production. The first phase of mission to rebuild Ogun State Metro's Garden City will be ready for commissioning in the first quarter of next year. The first phase has 150 units of 2 and 3 bedroom units. Managing Director of Ogun State Property and Investment Corporation (OPIC), Jide Odusolu, made this known to newsmen after an inspection visit of Governor Ibikule Amosun to the project located at Isheri on the Ogun-Lagos state border. He says the housing project has a total of 600 units of 2 and 3 bedroom housing units. President Buhari says there is no dispute between him and the APC national leader Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. The president dismissing reports that himself and APC leadership are plotting to destroy Tinubu, wants those peddling the rumor to stop sowing the seed of discord between him and Tinubu. On the just concluded Ondo State governorship polls, Buhari explains he maintained a regular contact with Tinubu before, during, and after the polls. Dismissing reports that Tinubu worked against APC candidates in the poll, Buhari says Tinubu is a priceless political asset to APC. People's Democratic Party (PDP) has rejected the results of the last Saturday governorship poll. The McCarthy PDP faction calls for the cancellation of the poll. The party accused the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) of rigging the poll for the All Progressive Congress (APC). Spokesman of McCarthy PDP faction, Prince Dayo Adeyeye, says the party's candidate, Eyitayo Jegede, has been directed to proceed to the Election Petitions Tribunal to challenge the results. Adeyeye says INEC has graduated from conducting inconclusive polls in Kogi, Bayelsa, Osun, Imo, and Nasarawa State to advanced election rigging. Northern State Governors Forum has signed a Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) with General Electrical International for the construction of 5 solar electricity plants in the Northern State. The plants are to be located in Borno, Kebbi, Nasarawa, Niger, and Taraba State. The Governors Forum Chairman, Governor Kashim Shettima, who signed the MOU on behalf of the governors, says each of the proposed power plants will generate 100 megawatts. The project, which is a pilot stage, is being coordinated by the Northern Nigeria Global Economic Reintegration Program. You are still listening to the Midday News from Rock City 101.9 FM. Up next, we bring you foreign, business, and sport news. Please stay with us. South Korea's President Park Geun-hye has said she has asked Parliament to help her find a way to stand down. Ms. Park faced growing calls to resign amid an investigation of the president's relationship with her close friend Choi Son-sil, accused of trying to extort huge sums of money from South Korean companies. The president said she would leave to Parliament everything about her future, including shortening of her term, but did not want to leave a power vacuum. Parliament was due to discuss on Friday whether she should face impeachment. Opposition parties have said the president should stand down honorably before it reached that point. Ms. Park has apologized twice before and has said she is heartbroken by the political crisis around her but has refused to stand down. The White House says there is no evidence to support Donald Trump's claim of widespread voter fraud in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Press Secretary Josh Earnest dismissed the president's unsubstantiated allegations that millions of people had cast illegal votes. Mr. Trump also alleged voter fraud in Virginia, New Hampshire, and California, which Hillary Clinton won. The president-elect's Twitter outburst comes after Mr. Clinton's camp said it will support a vote recount in Wisconsin initiated by Green Party candidate Jill Stein. Jill Stein also notified the election board in Michigan, where Mr. Trump's 16 electoral votes were certified on Monday, that it will seek a statewide recount of the presidential election results. 3 of the South African's president cabinet ministers have called on scandal-plagued Jacob Zuma to resign. Tourism Minister Derek Hanekom, Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi, and Public Works Minister Tulat Nexi called on Zuma to step down at a meeting of the ruling African National Congress over the weekend that was extended into Monday. Zuma's next time in office has been marred by numerous controversies, and increasingly his fellow ANC lawmakers and activists have called on him to step down. He survived a vote of no confidence in Parliament earlier this month, during which the main opposition party, the Democratic Alliance, arguing that Zuma allowed the powerful Gupta family to choose cabinet members, shows he is a threat to the country's stability. Zuma has also been fiercely criticized for using about $20 million in public funds for upgrades to his private rural home. He later apologized and agreed to repay a fraction of the money. In business, MTN Nigeria has met with the Security Exchange Commission (SEC) for a possible floating of initial public offering and share structure. The Commission's Director General, Monu Gwazu, who made this known, says MTN is considering 3 classes of shares but yet to submit a formal application for the proposed share sale. The telecommunication giant first hinted last June it will list the share of Nigerian Stock Exchange after reaching a deal with the Nigerian Communication Commission on the fine imposed for failing to register SIM cards of a large number of its subscribers. The company had already appointed Standard Bank of South Africa, Stanbic IBTC Capital, Standard Advisory, and Citigroup Global Limited as joint transaction advisors for the proposed share listing. The Dangote Group of companies plans to establish a rice mill in Kano State. The mill, according to the company's Chief Executive Director, Ajia Alima Dangote, will have capacity to process 250,000 metric tons of rice yearly. Dangote, who spoke at the 37th edition of the International Trade Fair in Kano, explains that the proposed mill will process rice from the company's project in Jigawa, Sokoto, and Zamfara states. The company has invested massively in the cultivation of rice in several northern states as part of moves to further diversify its operations. And finally, sport news. Nigeria striker Junior Ajayi has said he hopes to justify the $2 million Egyptian giant Al Ahly paid for him. On Sunday, Junior Ajayi netted his 4th goal for Ahly in the league. The striker says he can still do more by scoring many goals to remain in focus. A plane carrying 81 people, including a top Brazilian football team, has crashed on its approach to the city of Medellin in Colombia, officials say. Reports say there are 6 survivors. The plane reported electrical problems, and the chartered aircraft flying from Bolivia was carrying members of the Chapecoense football team. The team was due to play in the final of the Copa Sudamericana against Medellin team Atlético Nacional. The first leg of the final of the Cup, South America's second most important club competition, was scheduled for Wednesday but has now been suspended. That was the media news, and just before we go, the major stories once again. Ogun public school students may miss admission into tertiary institutions. Amosun says Ogun State 195-kilometer light rail will be ready early 2019. Buhari dismisses report of dispute with Tinubu, wants those behind it to stop. MTN met Security Exchange Commission on proposed sale of shares. On the foreign scene, reported that South Korea president ready to resign amidst mass protest, and South Africa's cabinet ministers asked president to quit. For more stories and to listen to us live, please log on to our website www.rockcityfmradio.com/live. Thank you for listening. I am OLOLADE. Good afternoon.